President Trump saying his administration has made further progress in talks with Iran over the weekend as the U.S. tries to curb Tehran's nuclear program.
Having to do with nuclear, we've had some very, very good talks with Iran, and I don't know if I'll be telling you anything good or bad over the next 2 days, but I have a feeling I might be telling you something good. We've had some real progress, serious progress.
Georgia Congressman Rich McCormick joins me now. Congressman, this all comes after the Ayatollah said last week that talks with the U.S. will not bring results. So obviously, it doesn't seem like we're all on the same page here. Are you optimistic that a nuclear deal gets done?
Well, I would love to say yes, but these guys have proven time and time again that they love to export terrorism. They love to export their weapons across the world to our enemies. Their weapons have been used to kill U.S. troops abroad. These guys are not good. They'll lie at the drop of a hat. We've had many agreements with them in the past. They've reneged on. If you want to say trust but verify, I don't even trust them. But we always need to make sure they have transparency, and we need to make sure they do not become a nuclear armed nation, because they have threatened the very existence of Israel. They believe that Israel is the little Satan, but guess who the big Satan is? That's us, the United States of America. They're not to be trusted at all.
Yeah, it seems like President Trump is optimistic something happens this week, and this week could be the week that we finally get something after decades, but we will see. Meantime, the president also says he agrees with some Senate amendments to the big, beautiful bill. Watch.
In some cases, those changes maybe are something I'd agree with, to be honest. I think the Senate is going to get there. I hope they're going to get there. I think they're going to have changes. Some will be minor and some will be, fairly significant. But we've been working with the House all the way up.
Okay, you House Republicans had a heck of a time trying to pass this before the Senate got their hands on it. What happens when the Senate starts really slashing a lot of stuff?
I'm actually pretty excited about it. I was one of 32 that wrote a very stern letter to the leadership saying we have to draw a line and saying we have to be very serious about this debt because it is going to overwhelm our country. I'm glad that the Senate's going to have a cut of this SALT agreement that's going to add $385 billion to our deficit spending, putting us up about $415 billion total more deficit spending than we did this last year. We can't afford that. We can't afford to have over $1 trillion per 100 days added to our debt. That's on our children. We are not built for that. I'm glad the Senate's taking this seriously. They're going to get rid of a lot of IRA provisions. They need to do that to keep us responsible. I'm glad they're going to do it.
Here's Rand Paul also calling out the bill over the weekend. Listen.
I support spending cuts. I think the cuts currently in the bill are wimpy and anemic, but I still would support the bill, even with wimpy and anemic cuts, if they weren't going to explode the debt. The problem is the math doesn't add up. They're going to explode the debt by, the House says $4 trillion. The Senate's actually been talking about exploding the debt $5 trillion.
And Rand Paul's real issue is raising the debt ceiling. So with all this in mind, I mean, you seem like you're pretty negative on it. He's obviously negative on it. What happens in the end? Like, what ultimately does the president end up signing?
Well, I think it's going to be a win regardless. No matter what, we're going to start bending the curve. That's really important. But I think having the Senate on board, taking this very seriously, making sure that we're fiscally accountable, at least getting started on becoming accountable. I don't want to hear what we're going to do in 4 years. We're going to have 2 new Congresses and a new president in 4 years. Let's talk about what we do this year. It's about time. We have control. Let's do the right thing for the American public and our future.
Finally, before we let you go today, of course, is Memorial Day. You are a veteran who served in the Marine Corps. When you think back to those you served with that are no longer with us because they made the ultimate sacrifice, what goes through your mind on a day like today?
I was reflecting on it, just knowing I was coming on the show and knowing we'd talk about it. I'll be talking to a large group this morning. When I reflect on my friends that have gone and the sacrifice they made and what their motivation was, the one thing that's unique about the United States from its founding days that makes it different from all other nations, when we sacrifice ourselves, whether it be the Battle of Trenton or Afghanistan or anything in between, we did it for a people so that the government would be protecting our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not to lord over us, not to regulate us, not to give us everything, but to give us a chance, a self-determination, and an opportunity that exists nowhere else in the world because of the way that we designed our government, which is unique amongst all governments, and we want to protect that.
Congressman Rich McCormick, thank you for your service, and we remember those that you served with that are no longer with us on this Memorial Day. Thank you, sir.